Hey everybody, welcome to my channel and welcome to our Let's Talk session. Today we're going to be talking about burnout. That's our topic for the month of October. In this Let's Talk session, we're going to be speaking about overbooking yourself. Whether you're a mother or a guardian, it is so important that you don't overbook yourself, and I cannot stress that enough. You know, many times we have days where we feel like we have to do this and that and everything else. But if we just prioritize those things that really need that attention for that week, right? Then we'll get a lot more done, right? We'll see a lot more productivity. But then we just overdo it. A lot of times we just overdo it. And that's why by the end of the day, we're burned out. And not just physically, because there is a physical wear and tear that we put on our bodies. No matter what kind of job you have, you can work full-time or part-time. It really doesn't matter. You can put a physical wear and tear on your body, not just because of the job that you have and the duties that you have on your job, like if you have a physically demanding job, right? So sometimes people feel like, well, this person shouldn't have a lot of wear and tear on their body or be going through a lot of stress in their body because, you know what, they don't have a job where they have to do a lot of physical labor. But you can put yourself through a lot of stress, right? That is emotional stress or mental stress, especially if you're working with the public. So depending on the kind of job that you have, you can have a lot of stress, right? And again, in my previous video, in my first Let's Talk session video, I did talk about that, you know, we have to understand that in life, we're going to have a certain amount of stress that we're going to have to learn how to juggle. And that's something we really don't want to do. We really don't want to learn how to juggle stress. Who wants stress, right? But the truth is, in life, period, we're just going to have stress. We're going to have to deal with those kind of things, right, that come about in our life that cause stress. But today we're just talking about not overbooking yourself, because there are things that we all know as adults, as parents and guardians, that we just have to take care of. Things that we just have to do, right? But what we don't want to do is put so much on our plate that at the end of the day, we are no good to anybody, not even ourselves, right? We can barely think straight. We can barely get a sentence out, a clear sentence out, if our spouse is asking us, how was your day? Or maybe our children are trying to get our attention about something or tell us about their day. We're just so disconnected because we are just burned out all around. We are just burned out emotionally, physically, mentally, right? And that's also why, if you've looked at my previous videos, go back and look. I've talked to you about de-stressing at the end of your day, because of course we're gonna have a lot of stress that we go through in our daily lives, right? Dealing with work, people, issues, problems on the job, personal problems. But we want to be able to have that time where we can kind of de-stress. You don't help yourself when you overbook yourself. You don't help yourself to de-stress at the end of the day, because that time that you should be putting aside for prayer, if you pray, or for time where you just kind of calm your thoughts down and you're just talking yourself down from your day, right? Like, okay, I just got off of work, yes, but you know what? Before I jump into the next thing, the next issue I have to take care of, the next task I have to tackle, I'm gonna just go ahead and settle myself, right? Stay in your car or drive to a park or drive somewhere where it has like a, you know, relaxing environment. Get out. Maybe you can start bringing some walking shoes with you and find a park somewhere, or find a place where you feel like you can go walking or something like that, right? Because it's so important for us to be able to just come down from our day, right? Like, because emotions start rising throughout the day, right? There's issues that go ahead and bring that stress level up. And then while we're dealing with all of these issues and problems and circumstances and having to take care of all these duties, right, the stress level just starts to build up. And if you're a parent and you're watching this, or even if you're a guardian, you know what I'm talking about, because you don't have to just juggle your own issues, your own problems, whether you're sick, whether you're going through any problems in your body, you know, going back and forth to the doctor, or whether you're just having a lot of mental issues, right? I deal with people a lot of the times that are having a lot of mental issues, right? Where life is just getting too heavy for them and they're really stressed, right? They're really stressed. And sometimes they have to walk away from the job for a while. Overbooking yourself really can add to that stress that we already go throughout the day. So I really want you to see that in overbooking yourself, you are working against yourself, right? But granted, I do understand too. Some of you might be saying, well, I'm the only person that's going to do this or that, and sometimes you are faced with those situations where you may be taking care of a family member, especially like your parent or your grandparents, and you might be the only one in the family that is willing to step up and take the responsibility. Maybe you've reached out, to other family members and said, hey, I need your assistance with this. I can take mom or dad or grandma and grandpa to the doctor or wherever they need to go. But can you help out with the meals? Can you help cook for them? Making sure they have their medicine or making sure they get back and forth to their doctor's appointments. You might reach out to another family member to just get help in any area that they can help, right? Then you may not get that help. And sometimes you end up having to do it all. But I will tell you this, it can get so overwhelming when you're trying to manage your own life and your own household, and you're really confused about even how to do that, right? Many people are confused on how to do that or struggle to do that. And then you have to care for another family member. And though we always want to be there for our family members as much as we can be, it's important for us to understand that we need to reach out and get the help that we need, right? If there is help available. Right? And so you'd be surprised if you just begin to ask for help from friends, from family. If you go to church, from church members, and let them know what you need. You'd be surprised sometimes at the people that will come in and help you. Even if it's that you are responsible for helping to go and clean up the house of the person that you're caring for. And sometimes you may not be able to go and clean up. You may not be able to go cook a meal or whatever that you need to do, right? Help with the laundry or whatever. So in those cases, you can also rotate the responsibilities, rotate the duties that you are doing, right? Rotate that with another person, right? So if you have family members or close friends that agree to come together and help you with caring for that loved one, see if you guys can rotate, right? Make a schedule. And that can help you to not have so much on you, because the last thing you want is to not be able to give your best, right? To your family, to your loved ones, to yourself, right? That's something I really wanted to share with you and just talk about today too, was the fact that we overbook ourselves so much. We overschedule ourselves. If you're someone that does schedule things out, but there are a lot of us that don't plan out our day or our week. And then there are some of us who do plan out our months, right? Weeks and months ahead of time. Even with the planning, even if you're someone that does plan. So it's important to have a plan in place, like to make a to-do list or have some kind of schedule or some kind of routine that you have. But you want to be able to, again, prioritize. We want to be able to say, okay, do I really have to go run this particular errand today? Or can I do that on Tuesday and do this other thing on Monday, right? What needs to be done? And is there a deadline to it? Do you have a deadline that you need to meet, right? Whether it's a project or whatever. I'm not going to go into that in this video because I do have a system that I did come up with that I want to share with you, but I'm not going to do it in this video. You just don't want to ever find yourself in that place where you're just completely done with everybody. At the end of the day, you're just done. You don't want to call, you don't want to talk to anybody. You don't even want to pray. You're so worn out, you don't even want to pray. When you get to a point where you don't want to pray, you have exhausted yourself, right? You have exhausted yourself. And you don't want to get to that place. And sometimes you have to talk yourself down and just kind of gather your thoughts even after you get off of work. Or you might be out running errands and your workday is not over yet. You're just running errands for the job. And you have to kind of just gather your mind, gather your thoughts during that time as well, right? Or pray if you pray. Because through prayer, you're going to be able to release some of that stress. Get out your feelings, get out your emotions about whatever you're dealing with that day. Though you have to turn around and go face that situation again, or you may have to still take care of different things during that day that you know you may not want to take care of, or that you know may take a lot out of you, prayer is still going to help you to give you that strength mentally and emotionally, right? And even physically, to go ahead and finish those tasks. And you know what? Sometimes we are really hard on ourselves. Many times we cause ourselves to feel like, if I make a list of things that need to be done that day, then if I don't do every single thing on my list, then I failed. But who did you fail? I mean, who did you really fail, right? Sometimes people get disappointed because you may not be able to follow through with something you said that you wanted to do for them. But if you are in a place where you're not able to do that thing anymore, you want to keep your word as much as you can, right? But you don't want to put yourself in a place where you're so exhausted that you're falling asleep at the wheel because you felt like you had to do everything on your list, right? There are literally people I've seen, parents I've seen, that I know are exhausted, even physically, and I'm telling them, okay, go home. I would see their condition and just suggest to them, out of the love of my heart, go ahead and rest. Go home and rest. Go take care of yourself. And then they turn around and tell me, oh no, I can't rest because I have this and I have that to do and this and that. There are friends that I've had that I've even told, why don't you go ahead and go home and get some rest, because I can tell you're tired. Take advantage of this Saturday or this Friday evening and just try to get some rest. And they're just automatically like, no, that cannot happen. You know, I'm going to be busy. You know, we say we're going to rest and we don't, and then we just get busy. But guess what? I will get some rest. I will go home and get some rest. Yes, I will. Because I've learned over the 15 years plus that I've been parenting that if I wear myself down to where I have nothing left, then I can't be a help to my family. And I keep saying that because we don't get it, right? A lot of times we don't get it. We just keep on going and going and not realizing that your body can give out on you, right? You can get to a place where you just overbook yourself and then in turn overwork yourself. Your body just gives out. You are at a point where your body is totally exhausted, right? You can get to a point where your brain starts to shut down too. Definitely, we really want to not overbook ourselves. We want to kind of space out the tasks that you have. You want to prioritize those tasks that you have to take care of throughout your week and be able to say, you know what? I'm going to do this, this, and this. Even if it's just 4 or 5 different tasks that you have for that day, that's okay, right? Especially if you're working a full-time job, or even if you're working part-time hours, you have to consider the other things that you're responsible for at home. Do you have children, right? How many children do you have? What are their ages? Do you have anyone that's helping you with your children, right? A babysitter, a family member, a spouse? The more help you have, the more you're free to do and take care of, right? And then I've also talked to you guys about the weekend. Many of us forget about the weekend, right? But sometimes you have to let some of that work you wanted to take care of, or some of those duties or tasks that you needed to do, but some of the things that you needed to take care of during your week may have to be moved to the weekend, right? Because yes, you have 24 hours in a day, but if you are someone that's responsible for raising your family and then for caring for a loved one, and you have your own business, or you work a lot of hours at your job, you have your own health issues, or you're going through mental issues, you have a spouse that you care for, or your spouse is normally away at work and you have the bulk of the responsibilities from the managing of the home to cooking and cleaning and caring for the children and the household, most of that is on you, right? So we have to consider all of these things as we're making our schedules throughout the week. And again, you may not actually buy an actual schedule, or you may not buy a planner or anything like that. You can simply just text a list of things that you want to do inside of your phone, right? That's something you can do this week. Text yourself a list of things that you want to do each day, a short to-do list, right? And just put the things that you know are a priority, right? Put in the comment box below. Let me know. Let me hear some feedback from you about how you feel during your week. Do you feel like you're burned out more mentally or emotionally or physically? Because we're all in different lines of work. And so some of us are nurses, some of us are doctors and lawyers, some of us are teachers or entrepreneurs or daycare workers. So go ahead and let me know. So that's it, parents. Today's Let's Talk session was about overbooking yourself. So let's simplify our days. Let's go ahead and prioritize our tasks. I really enjoyed you guys today. I really enjoyed this Let's Talk session. Look forward to my session for next week. Remember, if you have not submitted your questions to me about burnout, whether it's mental burnout, physical burnout, or emotional burnout, go ahead and submit your questions to me right here in the comment box below, or you can DM me and I'll leave that information in the description box.